everyone is well. Happy New Year. Happy holidays and all of that good stuff. I know all of that has passed, but we are still in the new year, and I hope everyone is doing well, and I miss you guys. I miss you so much. I just wanted to share with you today and just hopefully inspire you today and just get those wheels turning in your head and just share. You know, that's what life is about. It's about sharing and giving, and we have to share. Anyway, today's topic is going to be called the relationship that you have with yourself. Basically, it was kind of long, the title, because it's really the relationship you have with yourself is the same relationship that you're having with everyone else. So this one's going to be pretty deep, and a lot of people are going to be like, what? Like, what are you talking about here? How could it be that the relationship that I have with me is the one that I'm having with everyone else? I want to know about that. What do you really mean? Okay, so hopefully I'm going to break that down to you. There were times in my life when I had no clue. I didn't understand this one thing. And that was that every relationship I was having with others, especially in my romantic areas of my life, was a reflection of me. And, you know, I sort of went through some things and lots of trauma and suffering and pain and just really not really good relationships. They were pretty toxic. At least, you know, I was married for 19 years and, you know, I mentioned a couple of times in past podcasts that I was not happy at all. And, you know, I stayed because it was my choice to stay. So I can't blame him at all because it was my choice to stay. But there were some things that caused me to stay because of my beliefs and because I was self-sacrificing and I didn't know how to choose me. So as a result, I put everyone before me. And I was a mom of 3 beautiful children, and I wanted the best for my children. And with my first child, my first son's dad was not in his life. So I didn't want to repeat the same cycle. And I wanted to have a nice family unit for my children. And I wanted them to grow up with mom and dad, and, you know, it looks pretty, the whole package, and, you know, everything looks good, and it seems like they'll be a little bit more secure. And their dad, I got married and had 2 children by my husband, ex-husband right now, and he was a good dad to his children. He was good in terms of, like, supporting them, and when they were very young, he would take them out to the movies and maybe out to eat. So he did do some of those things with them, but he was not emotionally there, not emotionally involved in them, which, like most of our black men pretty much aren't emotionally involved with their children. And when you find one, it's very rare. But anyway, that's another story for another topic, another show that we're not going to get into at the moment. We're going to more so focus on the relationship that you have with yourself is the one that you have with everyone else. So, my ex-husband was abusive to my son. I had courted him for a year, and for the whole year, as I was courting him, he did everything in his power to impress me and my son, with gifts and taking us out and things of that nature, trying to win me over. And it was kind of difficult for me to even come to a point where I wanted to date, because I had just recently broken up out of a relationship with my really first boyfriend, and we had been in an 8-year relationship. So I moved on pretty much. That's another story. Maybe I'll tell you about it one day. And so I was really ready for something new. I had really started going to the mosque and really dedicating myself to the study in the mosque and doing a lot of reading, a lot of soul searching, and I liked what I was hearing at the time about the things that I was learning. Some of the things like God is inside of us, and we need to keep our families together, and a woman should, you know, be a good support system to her husband. And you know, husband knows that they tried to tell us how a husband should treat his wife and things of that nature. But anyway, I really was heavily immersed in it. And that's where I met the ex-husband. So he had his eye on me for about a year, and he kept sending women after me, and some of the guys in the mosque as well, to send me messages that he was interested. And at the time, I would tell them for a whole year, I would respond by saying, I'm not here for that. I'm not looking for anyone right now. I just want to focus on God right now and getting myself together. And just let them know I'm not interested. And they were like, what do you mean? Don't you even want to know what he looks like? I said, no, I don't even want to know what he looks like. So this went on, honestly, just about every Sunday that I was there for a whole entire year. That goes to show you where my mind was. I just really was not caring to date, or that wasn't my focus. So anyway, he was persistent. After a year's time, I started feeling bad because I felt like I was being a little bit selfish because my son's dad wasn't in his life, and I wanted him to have a father figure in his life. And that was one of the reasons why I broke up the prior relationship, was because my ex-boyfriend wasn't stepping up to play that role. So anyway, after courting him for, eventually, I changed my mind and I said, okay, let me see who this person is. And this was after a year of him sending messages through people that he was interested. I said, let me at least see who this person is. One day, as I'm leaving the mosque, he approaches me. I don't know if you know who I am, but my name is Brother Anthony. I'm very interested in this, that, and the other. We exchanged numbers. Make a long story short, we started courting. Within a year that we courted, everything seemed to go well. He was really good to my son. He seemed like he was really going to be a good father figure. Took him out to eat, bought him nice gifts, spent time with him, that type of thing. So I'm thinking, oh, everything's good. This is a great guy. He was handsome. He was charming. So it just seemed like it was really going to be a good match. Fast forwarding, he turned out to be a monster. He was very abusive to my son. He really only had intentions of being with me. He had no interest in having my son around, which was interesting because that should have been the first indicator. I should have walked away. But I didn't find this out until after we got married. That's when he became abusive. So it was still early enough for me to move on once I saw that he was abusive. He wasn't abusive in front of me. It would be when I would go to the bathroom or maybe went to the store and left my son with him, that type of thing. And I had to stop leaving my son alone with him because I couldn't trust how he would behave with him. So it was very, very confusing for me, and I didn't know how to move on from it. I felt stuck. And I really, truly believed that if I prayed enough, that things would change and he would just magically become a better person towards my son. So it never happened, and after 5 months of being married, I got pregnant and eventually gave birth to a baby girl. And 6 months after giving birth to her, I was pregnant again with a little boy. So having 2 children by him, it made it very, very difficult because I stayed home with them for the first 3 years. And I really, truly thought that I could clean up the situation and things would get better and things like that, especially being that we had 2 children together. But it really didn't get better. So anyway, I'll go into a little bit more details. I just wanted to give you a backdrop of what I'm talking about here. The relationship that you have with yourself is the one that you're having with everyone else. And I believe that this is going to be a couple of part series, okay? Because there's no way that I could possibly articulate everything within a short period of time. I don't want to make these podcasts too long. So look forward to part 2, because I'm definitely going to do part 2. So anyway, I didn't understand that I was attracting these types of relationships to me. Ones where the men that I was involved with really didn't want anything to do with my son. They wanted me, but not my son. And I felt like a victim. I felt like something was wrong with me. Like maybe there was something that I wasn't doing. Maybe I wasn't praying hard enough. Maybe there were other things that I needed to do that I wasn't doing. So I was really hard on myself. And I just kept trying harder to fix things. And I remember feeling very, very sorry for the ex-husband. As if he had a reason for me to feel sorry for him. If anything, I should have felt sorry for my son, and I should have felt sorry for myself. But it was twisted. I didn't really feel too sorry for myself. I felt sorry for my son, of course, but not really too much for myself in the situation. But I really did feel sorry for the ex-husband, because I knew from what he told me that he had a bad childhood, pretty much. What I remember was that his dad was a heroin addict. And he said pretty much if it wasn't for Islam and the Nation of Islam, he would absolutely hate both his mom and his dad. He would hate his parents. And because he became a Muslim, all of that changed, he said. So that should have been a red flag for me. And I really didn't pay it too much mind. And I asked him a little bit of probing questions about his childhood, what happened, and he was very evasive. All he could tell me was that he raised himself pretty much, and his aunt helped. And he was in the streets. And he was a drug dealer, and the streets raised him pretty much. And so I remember questioning his mom about his childhood, and she claimed nothing happened to him, of course, which I knew that was a lie. But I remember when he would do things to my son, and then I would threaten to leave, and I would leave on many occasions, and I would go stay with my sister in Brooklyn for a while. And he would apologize and say it wasn't going to happen again. But pretty much his stance was that he was blaming my son for the abuse. He was saying if he didn't do this, that, and the other, it wouldn't happen. And that man, he referred to him as that man. You know, as if my son at the time was only 8 years old. As if he was this grown person. So that's pretty much the climate of what I experienced, and I definitely have to go into a lot of details. But I just wanted to highlight some things here. How could it be that the way that I was relating to myself was the relationship that I was having with everyone? Like I told you, I was self-sacrificing, and I didn't know how to choose myself. I always felt sorry for other people. As an empath, I was born an empath, and that's pretty much a person who feels another's pain as if it were their own. And they have a lot of empathy and compassion for that person. And sometimes that can be very difficult because you don't know how to set boundaries. So that was me. So what I learned through my studies, because I constantly read, I'm still to this day a very avid reader, and I always like to read books on personal development and spiritual development and metaphysics. So those are my different genres that I'm very much obsessed with. And so I immersed myself in reading a lot because I was trying to figure everything out. I was trying to understand why I had such a high tolerance for nonsense. I didn't understand why I could not walk away and why I just felt so stuck. I just couldn't walk away. I felt guilty for walking away. So I stayed in an unhealthy situation. And it was very difficult because the contrast was that for his two children that we had together, he was good to them. He was they made sure they had everything that they needed, pretty much. We didn't go on vacations and things of that nature, but, he provided the basics. And when they were young, he did take them to the movies and out to eat. But like I said, he was emotionally detached, pretty much. But I did find him being very affectionate with them, because you know how it is. It's easy to be affectionate with young children. So when they were young, he was affectionate with them, hugging and kissing them and things of that nature. Whereas with my son, he didn't want him there. It was as if he felt like he was the one messing up the family. So that's what I was dealing with. So I didn't know why I had this tremendous guilt, even at the mere thought of wanting to walk away and end the marriage. And, oh my God, it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare because I felt so guilty when I had no reason to feel guilty, but I did feel guilty. So what was it that caused me to feel guilty? What was it that caused me to be stuck? Why was it so hard for me to walk away from something that was so toxic? So these are the questions that I am going to answer in part 2. I'm going to shed some light on how it is the way that we relate with ourselves or treating ourselves is the way that others will treat us. How does that happen? What are the dynamics behind that? So stay tuned for part 2. And until then, I hope that you've enjoyed this little piece. This is only part 1. I wasn't able to go into the details of it, but I just wanted to share and have you look forward to part 2, where I go into details about how the relationship that you have with yourself is the one that you're having with everyone else. Thank you. Please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. And this will be a series on relationships and how we actually create our own lives by what we think and feel about ourselves. Take care, everyone, and I'll talk to you soon. And definitely share, like, comment, and subscribe. And look forward to reading things from my blog. I have some really, really good articles on my blog. Check out my blog. I'll leave the link in the description below. And look at my other YouTube videos. And hopefully you'll pass on the information and won't keep it to yourself. And because sharing is caring, right? And that's what it's all about. Until next time, everyone, take care. Be well. Peace.